Hello everyone, it's Nanny Moo and Papa Dunk, and we're here in the car park at Chestnut Avenue in Haslemere. It's a Sunday in January, which means car parking is free, and we're going to take a walk just off the high street into Swan, which is part of the National Trust. So if you're not familiar with Haslemere, just off the high street here is Well Lane, which is the entry to Swan Barn, which, as on the sign here, it says it's open space and viewpoint. And it's to the Haslemere Town Well, which was operational up until the late 19th century. So we'll see if we can take a peek at that. And you'll also see that this part of the National Trust is also part of the Serpent Trail, the tail route. So we're just approaching the well, can take some steps down. Papa Dunk and I had to pick up a parcel in Haslemere and thought because the weather was so nice we'd take a look around Swan Barn, have a little stroll, because it has been wet over the last few days. We've bought our wellies. So if I read from the plaque here, it says from medieval times until the late 19th century, this dipping well and pile well in Lower Street were the two principal sources of water for the majority of the town's people. Haslemere's last public water carrier, Hannah Oakford, who died in 1898, charged a halfpenny per bucket to deliver water to houses in the town. It says here now, this water is not suitable for drinking. Well, thank you, Hannah Oakford, for doing that services. I don't know if you can see just down there, there is water. It's not running at the moment, but that must have been quite a job, taking buckets of water to all those houses in the Haslemere area. So Swan Barn Farm here, as on the poster here, Haslemere's hidden gem, and it is. Unfortunately, it's somebody's dog poo bag as well. We won't debate why people leave their dog poo bags, make the effort of picking the dog poo up, but just leave them as ornamental artifacts in trees and here at this information post. But you can see that there's quite a few lovely walks, both through copses and through into fields as well, just off the high street and Hunter Base Camp. Lots of different types of flora and fauna which you can see, and here we say common spotted orchid. I don't know that we'll get to see many butterflies today, a bit too cold, but as I said, if you are coming for a walk, if there have been some damp days, do bring some wellies because it can become awfully muddy along some of the paths. We've just seen a family turn back because they had a look at what some of the paths looked like and thought, maybe not, maybe we're not got the right footwear. We'll visit another day. And that's what's great about these areas. You can visit them in all seasons and see different things in all seasons. Brilliant tree. Just to illustrate what we mean by the muddiness, very soon after the main path there's this little patch of mud which you would need to navigate before moving on to the more open fields. Quite satisfying squelching through mud. Had a little bit of a slip, but I caught myself. It's such a wonderfully sunny early afternoon in January, and while there are many paths that you can take in Swan Barn, in winter you will meet muddy patches, so just be prepared for that. You can hear the bird song, and just behind us here I think is an orchard of some sort. I mean, there must be a lot of social history, local history about Swan Barn, which if you're interested in having a look to see what we've got here. I can't see that far. But clearly in some sort of orchard of some sort. Maybe blossoms, who knows? Maybe if you do know, let us know by putting a comment down the bottom. I'd be really interested. In the drier months you would see lots of walkers, families, dog walkers, ramblers on Swan Barn, but because of the muddy conditions underfoot, today there are only a brave few. I can see a spaniel and his or her owner having fun, enjoying the spaces. See that old tree in the background there, fallen through. There are paved roads or footpaths that you can walk along, but eventually in the winter time you will come to some muddy areas which you can navigate through, but this isn't just a little bit of mud. This is really sinking down maybe 3 or 4 inches. I think the water table must be quite high in this area, which would make sense given that there was a water well here. Papa Dunk just washing off his boots. See the moss on the trees, maybe indicative of the air quality. And in the background there you can see a wonderful house with wonderful views. I'm sure the house is wonderful as well, but really is quite muddy getting through there, that little gate. So if you are intending to visit Swan Barn, you might want to download a map, because the paths, such as the one that we're walking on now, are quite entwined with each other. So if you don't mind just having a wander, that's great, but if you want something that's more defined in terms of your walk, it might be helpful to download a map. Papa Dunk and I were reminiscing, as this was one of the first walks that we did within the Haslemere area before we even contemplated the possibility of living close by. And that was in May. It was a glorious sunny day without the mud. But you know, these are the sorts of walks that change throughout the season. We've had quite a bit of storm damage in the surrounding areas, both with winds and torrential rain. But nature renews itself where it has the opportunity to do so. But even though, as you can probably see here, the mud, I'm being very careful as I talk and walk, quite gluggy but slow and steady, and it's just so glorious to be here, almost the whole area to ourselves. Isn't that right, Papa Dunk?
Yeah.
Swan Barn is part of the Surrey Hills, which is a designated area of outstanding beauty. And at the end of January, it's living up to its name. This is one of several fields you'll encounter once you're out of the copse. And on a spring or summer day, it's a wonderful place to have a picnic, or just to sit down, read a book. And we can see probably some locals exercising their dogs in the field. When we do our walks, we often find some very old seats, and this one is a very old seat, as you can see by the moss growing. But I sometimes do wonder what the view was like when the seat was erected, because if I was to sit here now, all I could see really is some greenery and mostly holly and a glimpse of a field in the background there. I wonder what was the view 50 years ago, 100 years ago. Who knows? So we're walking down a man-made path here, still quite muddy, so we're having to be quite careful. But there's another promise of a wonderful field bathed in winter sunshine. Being careful to go over the bridges, and there's Papa Dunk again, just giving the wellies a bit of a wash before our next encounter. With a gate through mud. Yay. This is a larger field than the previous one, which you could walk around. You can hear the babbling of some streams, which I guess connect up to the riverway in some way or other. But the winter landscape is really, really great to get out into and enjoy. Equally, coming back in the spring or summer, or indeed the autumn, when you see the changing of the leaves, can be quite relaxing. Taking your time, just wandering and wondering. Can't get any better, really, can it? And here's the third field. Again, lots of lovely space to wander, paths crisscrossing. Surrounded by a lot of wildlife. So we're going to end this video here. It's only been a short, probably about a mile, maybe a mile and a half, walk through Swan Barn, the Haslemere side. But we hope you've enjoyed looking at some of the greenery, just as we have enjoyed navigating and walking through the mud. But it is well worth a visit in any season. So that's bye for now. Bye for now.